Chapter 9, pages 249 to 250, there is a section called Impacts of No Child Left Behind. The No Child Left Behind legislation has placed heavy demands on teachers, schools, school districts, and states. No longer can expectations for achievement by minority, special needs, or ELL students be lower than for other more mainstream students, and I don't even know why that was even an issue or should have ever been an issue. Expectations should have been high for all students regardless. We should be expecting achievement out of those students. And that's probably one of the positives that come out of No Child Left Behind as well, is the fact that it's identified that maybe we were making or excusing some students because they couldn't do it. So we excuse them from certain things. Also in that same area, there's a No Child Left Behind waivers. The No Child Left Behind mandated that student performance in the 2001-2002 school year was to serve as the baseline. So when this first began, we were going to take the scores that year and then let that be showing our growth from there on out. So I guess most school systems hoped for perhaps a poor year that year so that the baseline would be very low. I'm not sure. In each subsequent year, there was to be improvements in the test scores so that by the school year 2013-2014, all students would be proficient. That has not happened. In the fall of 2011, President Obama initiated a process by which states could apply for a waiver. States that received waivers had to address several elements. Now, I remember when my fellow teachers, I was out of the public school system by that time, but I remember several of my teachers were so excited when we asked for that waiver and it was granted, and I said it can't be good, because if you get pardoned for something, that means someone else, and in this case the federal government, is in control what happens next, and that's usually not a good thing because they don't realize what really goes on down here where we're at, you know, in the real classroom, the real setting in those rural areas. So states that received that waiver had to address several elements. This is what the federal government said. They had to adopt standards for college and career readiness. That would be the Common Core. They had to establish a new accountability system, growth scores. Your students have to grow at least one grade level. You don't want any negatives, and so on. Implement purposeful ways of improving learning for ELL and SE students, special education students. Develop an evaluation system based on measures to improve teacher effectiveness, and then all of these evaluation systems started into effect. So really, part of this burden of what's happened to education has happened because the higher ups, and at the time probably some teachers thought it was a great idea when the waiver went in. That meant No Child Left Behind. We could have had a bad year, and instead of going on the bad list, we had a waiver come in which releases from that. But then look what it got us. That's when all this evaluation, all of this conversation came up about attaching our salaries to student scores. That's when all this started blossoming, because we thought the waiver was a great idea. I think it might have been better if we would have just stayed on track where we were at. Personal opinion, I'm not sure we would have been any worse off regardless, because right now it's bad. If you talk to any of your teachers at all, you're going to see that they're very disgusted at this point, and I think that's the frustration. But we asked for the waiver. Tennessee asked for the waiver. That's bottom line.